Pixar's newest movie, Elemental, is out now. And this is an interesting movie, because I'm just gonna say it now. The marketing for this movie is absolutely atrocious. Because you've got ads like this. And they're releasing clips like this.
You're so hot.
Excuse me?
No, I mean like you're smoking.
So it's no surprise that it only made, what, like $30 million in the opening box office, which is the lowest opening weekend in Pixar's history as a company. Does the movie deserve that little success? I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not want to see this movie, really. I thought it would be interesting to review, but I was not looking forward to it. And almost as soon as the movie started, my opinion changed of it, I mean, immediately. Because, I mean, most of this is going to be spoiler stuff in this review. I'll try to, like, not say until, like, spoiler talk, but, like, the trailers don't, for some reason, don't make it seem as good as it is, and doesn't even reveal any plot points. Like, I was going into this, thought it would be like a weird romantic movie that, like, we don't really get invested into any of the characters, and there's really no, like, points to it at all. No, I was dead wrong. Because this is a movie that is about the struggles of immigration into a new country, the pressures of wanting to make your family proud and feeling that you're not going to make them proud. And it's also a movie about total opposite personalities coming together and being not only friends, but in this case, boyfriend-girlfriend. So, the movie starts with Bernie and Cinder, who are Ember's parents. The fire girl, not that one, yeah, that one. Her parents immigrating from what was it called, like, Fireland, I think that's what it was called. Immigrating from there to Element City, and adjusting to a new life. Like, Bernie creates a shop, and he, like, builds the shop himself. And this family has to make a new life for themselves, which is very true for immigrant families, because they come to these countries with nothing, basically. And, like, the struggles that they face in society in the Element City, and a lot of these situations that is in this movie are things that immigrants actually face in real life. Because I don't get the hate, I guess, that immigrants get when they move to this country, because if you really think about it, everyone is an immigrant, because we moved to this country as well, back in, like, you know, the early days of the United States. So I don't get why people have such a problem with immigrants and treat them differently because they're from a different country. Just weird. And this movie has a lot of those themes in it. So I really did like that. I was very invested in these characters. They did a good job of making you understand these characters and also discover these characters with the characters in the movie. Like Ember, we really don't know much about her when the movie begins, but by the end, we know her goals, we know her personality, we know what she wants to do in life. Same thing with Wade. When we first meet him, we don't really know anything about him, but by the end, we know his personality, we know his goals, and we know a lot more about our characters through the journey that our characters go through, and also the audience goes through with those characters to discover more about them. Now, I will say that the two main characters could use a little bit more personality. Like, we don't really know what Wade is going to do, like, because Ember gets, like, an internship from Wade's mom on, like, art and stuff, so she's gonna go do that. We really don't know what Wade is gonna do, because when we first meet him, he's a city inspector, right? That's what he does for his job. And he falls in love with with Ember, and we know his personality is like a fun-loving guy. I mean, he seems like a cool guy to hang out with. He likes Ember, obviously.
You're so hot!
He's a lot more outgoing and a lot more extroverted than Ember, I guess, because Ember is introverted. So we know that, but there could be a little bit more, I feel, to his actual background on who he is. Ember, I feel like she could use a little bit more personality, because we know that she's kind of introverted. She's not meant to run the shop that her father owns, and her father wants her to take over. She's not meant to do that. Instead, she wants to do art. But because of that family pressure, she feels like she has to run the shop, and that's her, like, internal struggle. But we don't really know much about her actual personality, like what she wants to do, why. I felt that I really didn't know why Wade fell in love with her, what he really liked about her. But that's okay, because we do know a lot about these characters, and there's a lot of depth to these characters, too, that I really, really, really liked. And that honestly, a lot of movies kind of skip over now, and don't really take the time to fully flesh out our characters, and really make you connect with them in a deeper way, because I think almost anyone can connect with these characters. It's truly great. And I don't even know the last Pixar movie, really. Well, I think the last movie was Onward that I really felt, like, truly connected with these characters. But since then, it hasn't really been, I feel like Onward was the Soul, I guess Soul. But, Soul was the last, I'll say this about Soul, I think Soul was the last true-to-form Pixar movie, but Onward was the last one, I believe, that I could really connect with the characters that I was seeing on screen. Except now this one, because I feel like I can connect with something from each of these characters. Now, Element City, we don't really see much of, but what we do see is really, really, really cool. But, like, everyone in Element City, kind of like Zootopia, but everyone in Element City is just straight up racist to each other. Especially fire people, for some reason. Ember shares a memory that she was going to go see some flower in, like a greenhouse, but she wasn't allowed in because they didn't allow fire people to come in there, probably because of, like, all the plants, but it twisted it almost to be kind of like racism. And, like, the guard yelled at Ember's dad, Bernie, like, go back to Fireland and stuff. And, like, again, that's what happens to actual immigrants. Like, there's racism in this world, especially towards immigrants. And stuff like that happens on a daily basis that we don't really know about. I like that this movie is making people, or hopefully going to make people realize, truly, that it's more than just, this movie has themes that are more than just a movie theme. It's stuff that needs to get fixed and should be fixed already. But the main story is that Ember needs to save their shop, but internally she's struggling with, she doesn't really want to run the shop, and she's feeling pressure from her family. I mentioned that before, and she meets Wade, who is a water person, and fire people don't like water people, obviously, because they can't, water puts out the fire. They'll die if they're around water, basically. But Ember and Wade kind of fall for each other, but Ember doesn't really want to admit that, because she has so much internal personality of each other. Like, my parents are completely different, personalities, but there's something that brings them together, and I really liked that was the main story. And I didn't think I was gonna like the story, because I thought it was gonna be a little bit cringy, but Pixar does what it does best, and it takes a simple concept and it expands it to something much better than what you thought it was going to be. Like, I'm sure when Ratatouille came out, people thought a rat chef was going to be so stupid. And I'm sure that people thought a non-talking robot for 80 minutes, or however long WALL-E is, it would be stupid. But those are some of the best movies ever created. So, and I'm not saying Elemental is not to the point of Ratatouille, because there is some flaws with this world and stuff, but it is kind of the same thought I had while watching this. So I'm going to get into spoiler talk and about the ending, so if you haven't seen the movie, first of all, go see it and skip to this time marker on the screen to avoid spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So the main plot is that Ember has to save the shop, and because there's leakages around the city, and towards the end there's a huge flood, and it basically destroys the shop, and but luckily Wade is there to save the day, and he saves Ember, but by doing that, Wade basically dies. Except the way that they bring him back is that because he's water, there's like droplets on the ceiling, and they make him like laugh / cry, and then he comes back to life, which is kind of dumb. But again, it shows that Wade is it shows Bernie, Ember's dad, that Wade truly loves his daughter, and he's different than most water people, and he's different from most people. So it serves a good purpose, but you really didn't think Wade was gonna die. And the way that they brought him back was weird, but again, it's an animated movie, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And then at the end of the movie, Ember goes and she's leaving to the internship. And I kind of didn't like that, well, I did like that Ember is, like, choosing what she wants to do, but I felt it was strange that they didn't really give Wade anything to do at the end of the movie. Like, what he was going to do in the future. I'm hoping they do a sequel. They probably won't because it's kind of bombing in the box office, which is unfortunate. But these trailers, some things in the trailers just straight up weren't scenes in the movie. So it was like, it was just weird. It was just really weird, the marketing for this. It ruined it, obviously, because it's the lowest grossing Pixar movie so far. So it's like, whoever's doing that, I'm sorry, should not work for the company anymore. But horrible marketing aside, the ending was cool. I really did like that Ember found what she wanted to do instead of and beat all of those internal struggles that she had, and really Ember's really the main character. And I really liked that the romance part of it was sort of a B plot, but then in the end became the A plot, because that's what Ember was feeling. She didn't really know that she loved Wade until the very end, when she kind of came to grips with it, and truly realized that she loved Wade, and the shop kind of came second. I also really liked Ember's dad too, Bernie. Obviously, the things that other people were doing and the things that have happened to him, he has kind of the right to be mad at other elements besides the fire people. But I liked his character arc of not really liking water people, and then at the end he really likes Wade, and Wade being accepted in that family. And by their daughter's kind of Romeo and Juliet kind of romance, that family isn't torn apart as well. So I really did like that it was truly a Romeo and Juliet kind of story, but instead of them both dying at the end, it's two families coming together. So really did like that. Welcome back to people who didn't want spoilers. Officially, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, which is way higher than I thought I was going to give it. So good job. 8 out of 10 for Elemental, and I recommend it to everyone. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. It would make me a very happy man. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Have a magical day, everybody.